4th, 2013 Board of Selectmen's meeting. Present, Lisa Pacheco, Lee Baumgartner, Paul Sadek, Town Administrator Richard Brown, Ally Galls is our Administrative Assistant,
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to
and
hit you.
Jeff Blake, Copeland and Page, one of our attorneys. Okay. Anybody here to speak for the board of, oh, by the way, we're recording the meeting, video and audio, and I've got an audio thing also. Sir, your name?
Rich Daly from Nestles Lane, up in East Freetown. I'm just here to get some guidance we're having an ongoing issue with NSTAR regarding the poles that service Nestles Lane. Back in the late 90s, we had a meeting with the Selectmen and NSTAR about them taking over the power lines. As far as we knew, everything was done. The only thing that was left to be done was a easement of some kind from the town, because there's one guideline from power lines at some point that is on the Betsy Tabor property out, which is conservation land off of Nestles Lane. We were under the impression that it was all done. Apparently, NSTAR says it was never done. And now they're at a point where they're saying, well, if you want us to take over the lines, we'll do it for $100,000, and we're still not in any position to guarantee we're going to take them over, I guess. So I'm just looking for some guidance. We have 7 families that live out there. We all received a letter about a year or so back saying, you know, those are private lines, we're not going to fix them anymore. The last big storm we had a year or so back, we ended up having to get a state rep from Lakeview to come. She finally forced them to get the Department of Public Utilities down to fix the line, so we could have people back with power. I know our house was on we were on a generator for 18, 19 days.
Oh,
So they're selling you electricity on those lines, and they don't want to maintain them.
Right. I mean, they keep claiming I own the lines, that I put the lines in 1947. I wasn't even born in 1947. We bought our property in 1988. We bought the land our house is sitting on. We never bought power lines. We never bought,
the power was there.
And I know you guys can't probably do anything about it, but we need somebody, we kind of need an arbitrator or something to get NSTAR and somebody in the same room.
The issue is not the easement, from what I understand, and I dealt with this issue during the storm, probably at the same time you were, and probably spent about 1 day, 3 hours with their service rep, who told me time and time again he wouldn't put the power back on, but we finally prevailed, and as you know, it did go back on. The issue, apparently, according to NSTAR, is that the poles or something to do with that power supply was never done up to according to NSTAR standards. It, in fact, is a private utility, very much as the way you would bring power from the road into your own house. Because we did make the argument about the easement, and they rejected that entirely. NSTAR was supposed to provide a detailed summary or detailed list of what was required to bring that up to standards. They have not done that.
Yes, they have.
Oh, they have?
Yeah.
I have not seen that. But I have a call into NSTAR to their service rep, Joanne O'Leary, who is talking to their internal people. They were not available today. She's going to try and get a hold of them this week to see what we can do to try and have a more permanent solution to the problem there.
Okay.
Short of, just trying to, I guess, badger them into it. There's not a lot that the town can do. But we're aware of the issue. We worked it last year. And we reached out to them this year because we don't want to be dealing with this in the height of storm again.
I guess.
But if you have the list of what they sent you, if you could send it to me, I'd appreciate it.
When did you get that list?
Probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. And one of the other residents on the street has been talking to a B. Lord at N-Star, and she seems to be like the blocking point of everything out there. But this whole issue of bringing everything up to their standards was never brought up back in the 90s when we met and they were just going to take it over. So now it's something new, and now they're saying, okay, if we're going to do this, it's, you know, it's whatever it is, $10,000 a house plus a 20% takeover fee plus.
Yeah, I don't know what they told you in the 90s, but I know the N-Star philosophy now is that they are just not doing work on lines that they don't own or are not installed up to their standards. And I don't know when that philosophy changed, if it in fact changed, but that's, you know, when I see what they sent you and I find out what their internal people are saying, we can see what we can do.
I mean, I had that stuff off the truck.
Through the chair, can we check the planning board minutes of the meetings from the planning board? Because they would have had, when that development went in, they would have had some sort of minutes about power lines or whatever, so perhaps there's a key there. And also, we have a community member, that I don't want to really say his name out loud right now, who works for N-Star corporate office, so I think we should probably try to reach out to him and see if maybe we can bypass some of the red tape and move ourselves up the ladder.
Is there any way of going back to the minutes of?
That's what I was just thinking, if we can go back to the planning board and also the board of selectmen minutes. But that's going to take some time. It's not like they're on, you know, it's not like they're on a computer and we can just Google it. It's not going to come up like that. So perhaps if you gave us when this was done, we can probably narrow it down a little bit.
I'm going to say it was 97, 98, but.
That was when you documents at home that would show.
The date of that
Fresh,
meeting?
remember, yeah.
I went looking for them when this first came up about, you know, all of a sudden these are your responsibility again, and I couldn't find them in mine, but one of the other guys that's been working on it may have them, and I'll see what I can find out tomorrow.
When after the storm, who actually repaired it? Was it N-Star that came up?
No, we actually got a private contractor.
You had to get a private contractor to do it?
Because that room's never been accepted.
This is good.
But that, I mean, that's a whole other issue, because the last house that went in there a year or so back, the whole issue came up about, this isn't a pub, you know, it's not a town road. And then all of a sudden it was a town road because they wanted to put a house in. And it's a long story, but it's a former selectman's son-in-law or son or whatever. And all of a sudden the planning board said, yeah, it's a town road, we're gonna let the house go in there. They put the house in, they connected to the power lines, nobody was contacted about connecting to power lines, so if they're private lines, who authorized them to connect to it?
All right, again, I don't want to get that, not my fault, it's his, but I don't want to hear like that part of it. I'd rather just like get to the nitty gritty and try to solve the problem. And whether we go back to the planning board minutes or the board of selectmen minutes of 97 and 98, we can probably narrow it down.
It was the board of selectmen, it was not the planning board that we met with.
Right, but they'll have some records as well. And then I think maybe contacting one of our town residents and seeing if they can help us out.
He may be able to insight.
I mean, it just seems, it seems crazy that we've had, you know, all these families living down there for as long as we have. And it's like,
So there's 7 families total.
yeah.
Now, in the past, have you always had this trouble with N-Star as far as repairing? I mean, certainly.
No,
You
we
would
had
have had
until the last storm, the last big storm there. As as far as I know, nobody's ever paid a dime to have anything done on those power lines. So every time a power line went down, the issue before the storm was a tree came and hit the power lines and was burning. We called NSTAR, they would not come out. We ended up calling the fire department. The fire department came over and they called NSTAR, and NSTAR came out. Meanwhile, I mean, we could have had a forest fire out there for what was happening out there, and NSTAR wouldn't come out and do whatever they had to do to. But that's, again, I mean, it's a bunch of stupid things, and if it's.
Yeah, but when you don't have electricity,
Right.
it can be a big issue.
I mean, like I said, it doesn't affect me all that much because I just turn on my generator, and if I gotta burn my generator for 2 months, I don't care. But it's just, it seems like it's crazy that.
Now, when people had to get a private electrician up there, they came out immediately and they climbed it from the pole.
I was without power for,
Well, yeah, but once you got, I mean, it took that long to get a private person out, or did you wait for hoping the install would do it?
there was a couple of days wait ahead of time, but I mean, there were issues because of the way, one of the houses going up has 10 or 12 poles on their property going into their house, and that was a major problem. And there's no cutoff on the line to go up there, so that, I mean, and they fully know those lines going up to their house are private lines, just like I know the pole on my property is my private pole. If something happens to it, NSTAR's not gonna fix it, you know? So, it's just, we just need some, at this point, it's like we keep calling, they keep calling, it's just like, can we get everybody?
Well, I think that Mr. Brown has a contact right now, and then we'll get contact with this other gentleman.
We may have a better one.
Hopefully we'll see if something can happen.
All right, so do you want me to send those plans
Any
over to
information
the
that you have would
selectmen's
be
office?
helpful to me.
You want me to send them to the selectmen's office, is that how you want
Yeah,
to get
that's
them?
fine.
Okay, I'll make copies tomorrow, and
Get them down to the future.
then if we can, I don't know, whatever you can do. It just seems like we're just spinning wheels here, and like you said, the next big storm's coming anytime, so we'll see what happens.
We'll do our best.
Yeah.
Great,
Thank you, sir.
appreciate it, thank you.
Oh, our favorite neighbor.
Here comes trouble. That's what I'm about to say. Oh, we'll just come by and just give you an invitation on, I believe it's November 24th. We have an annual Thanksgiving luncheon for all the senior citizens. I believe it's a Friday. It's our third dinner. We're going to have a free one, so we wanted to invite the Selectmen and anybody, you know, in the town hall and stuff like that. We're going to have a free turkey, stuffing, apple pie, blueberry pie, the whole works, and usually about 60 to 80 senior citizens come out. So I figured I was around town, so I figured I'd come by and give you a special invitation to come if you want to come. It will be at noontime. All right. So
Thank you, sir.
that's why I come
Thank
by.
you.
And I heard you had a meeting, so I might just sit and just listen.
The real truth of the matter is that you had to come and invite the selectmen, because you couldn't limit it just to senior citizens, because Lisa wouldn't qualify.
I wouldn't either. Actually, I just turned 54 not too long
Oh,
ago.
another one that wouldn't qualify. Okay.
But I'm hoping to get there, so that's why I came by. I heard you had a meeting, so I figured I'd just come by and listen.
And there's a special town meeting at 7.
Yes, that's why I come by.
All right, and before we go on to the agenda, I just want to, I'm sure the board probably has seen the press release today. The police department, 3 of our officers uncovered a stash of 31 pounds of marijuana. And 2 of those officers, Jacob Raposa and Anthony Pereira, and Sergeant Wyatt, but those 2 officers have been accepted by the state police, and they're going to start their training to become state troopers on December 2nd. I want to congratulate those fellows for a very good job. And I also want to thank the police department for checking on Porter Shores. Yes, the police department, the board asked the police department. It's really Porter Shores.
Okay.
Porter Shores, Porter Pastures, to put patrols down here to double check on the facility, and they did that. They sent us a report, and it seems that really nothing too much is going on down there. So we want to thank them for taking that extra effort and doing those patrols. Okay. There was I got to get my little computer on here so I can read some of this stuff. Received a letter from Chief Carlton Abbott, just to notify us that the accreditation assessment for the police department is going to start shortly. And he was just alerting us to that fact. Accreditation is to pass accreditation, that means they have a very good running police department, meet all the requirements. So we wish them well regarding that matter. Second thing on the agenda tonight is the approval of the Board of Selectmen's meetings for October 10th and October 21st.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, because it was unanimous. Okay, the next thing on the agenda here is to discuss and sign an agreement for professional consulting services between the town of Freetown and the Architectural Consulting Group LLC. Mr. Brown?
Yeah, this is the contract to get the feasibility study done. You approved the award of the bid. This is the document that puts it into effect, and it's been reviewed by Compliment of Page.
I'll make a motion to sign.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
And,
Good.
yeah, what's the timeline on this?
We're trying to have everything done so we can have a report and plan for annual town meeting. So we're looking at, if you go back to the beginning, we're looking to have everything contractually done by May, but we expect we'll have work done before that.
All right, because then we're going to have to come up with figures and everything else. if we're
That's going to be
present
also
this.
part of the study.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we also have a request from the Daughters of the American Revolution asking the Board of Selectmen to issue a proclamation declaring the month of November to be the National American Indian Heritage Month.
We usually do it.
Do we do this?
Yes.
Hear a motion?
Make a motion that we declare the month of November to be the National American Indian Heritage Month.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, that's simple. Now, the next thing on the agenda is discuss town hall business hours for the day after Thanksgiving.
Make a motion to allow, well, wait a second. What do we usually do? They use their sick or vacation
It's
time.
closed to the public, but
Right.
people can take leave on.
Right, they use their sick or vacation? No,
No, personal.
just personal and vacation.
Right.
All right, I'll make that motion.
But the town hall is open if we have anybody
Yes,
there, right?
yes.
If people choose to work, the town hall is open.
Correct.
So it's up to, how do we arrive at this? How do we arrive at that decision? When do we arrive at that decision?
Yeah, it's closed to the public.
Right now? I mean, so we're going to decide whether people are using.
No, we're going to give them the opportunity whether they want to. They'll decide.
Oh, as a body to get back?
No.
No.
Each individual
No, the
person.
building is essentially closed to
Okay,
the
I guess
public,
that's what I'm
but
concerned.
if people have work that they have to do and they want to work, they
Okay,
can
all right,
come in and do their
It's
work.
better that, because otherwise,
I understand.
it's better to have a heads up.
Okay,
All right?
yes.
So you made the motion, Lisa?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? No. Okay. Board of Health,
Nothing,
Personnel Board.
except for I'm
There are a
sick.
couple of things.
Now she tells us.
We've got a change of status from Mr., let me get down to this. We have a change of status request from Chief Abbott for Reserve Patrolman Thea Dwyer, who's has a length of service increase from $16.53 an hour to $19.29 an hour, effective November the 4th. Make a motion to move forward with her.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Dwyer. And the second thing I have is just something we discussed today. I hope you got a phone call from Paul about appointing someone as a senior.
Al, did you let her know about the interview?
No, meaning about zoning, you mean?
No, I don't know.
We interviewed
No. I wish you knew about it.
We had a
I
posting.
know about the interviews, I didn't know if you
Yeah.
guys knew.
Interviewed two people, Cynthia Estrella and Christine
Mhm.
both for a part-time position that pays $10.59 an hour. Not every day, but when the zoning board of appeals meets, take minutes and things like that, so it could be 10 hours this month and for the next month, and then 2 hours, but Christine was interested in it. Paul and I thought she'd make a good choice.
Okay.
So a motion to appoint Christine Piva, senior clerk, zoning board of appeals at $10.59 an hour.
I'll second that, but I do want to say that I know Mrs. Piva because I know her husband. He's the chairman of the finance committee. So I just want to make that known.
And I'd like to make that known, I know Brad and Christine also.
I don't know, and I wasn't there, so I'm not going to help out anybody in any way. But you know what, we interview tons of people that we know. I mean, we're a small town, so you're never going to bypass any of that. I'll second your motion, but I am going to abstain because I wasn't there. I think that's an unfair thing to do because I have no brothers one way or the other, so.
And just to go on a little bit further, the people, Lee, myself, the town administrator interviewed the two candidates. We did invite the chairman of the Board of Appeals, and he was not able to make it. And we had notified him last week, I believe. Okay. So,
But I have no issues.
So I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain, so 2 ayes and an abstention.
So welcome aboard, Ms. Piva.
Oh, yeah.
And that finishes me, I'm done.
No, you're not. You just started.
New business. Here we go. New business. Dates of upcoming Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Oh,
Tuesday, November 12th. Monday, November 25th. And Monday, December 2nd, and Monday, December 16th. Now, the November 25th meeting, I talked with the assessor's office, with the assistant assessor, and their feeling is that November 25th would be the best, but as far as they're concerned, that would be the best day to meet with us regarding the tax rate. They'll have plenty of time to put everything together, and also have time to answer any questions that we may have beforehand. So, if anybody, I know we wanted to have it earlier, maybe on the 18th, but they were asking that we defray it for the 25th. Anybody have any issues?
no, I'm just, again, you know, you guys weren't here, but we've had, like, because it's, this to me is late, but I mean, I'm going by their recommendation, but we always go by their recommendation. And we've had people work in the assessor's office on Christmas Eve, trying to get the tax bills out on time, because there was an issue. So I get it. I just hope that this is not going to be an issue, because I know you two, you will not be happy people if this happens.
And we're not getting any coal if they have to work Christmas Eve.
So this-
I know you two, I know you will both go berserk if people are working on Christmas Eve after promising that that's not going to happen, so.
So Richard, maybe you can make sure, since we tried to get it a little bit earlier. But maybe you can make sure that we have the assurances that nobody will be working Christmas Eve.
Oh, one year it was the paper, the other year it was the bills weren't going to be done by the printer in time, so I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's always better to have a little bit of leeway, but if everybody's comfortable with that, and I'm sure you two have talked and talked.
I'm not working. I'm not working Christmas Eve.
Ally, you working Christmas Eve
Yeah, that's all open.
until 6 o'clock to get the bills out on time? Yeah, I'm thinking so.
I'll be home with my
And
daughter.
then everybody get a few days grace on their
And
bill.
then have to-
Right?
Well, they're still
Horrible.
charging interest if you get it in late.
So we'll double check, and if we have to move it, we will.
Now, we're going to turn the next part of the meeting over to the chairman of the old business.
Oh, God. I don't know. I did ask at the next meeting that we have, our regular board meeting, we have the employee handbook, so we can go over that and
Okay.
probably put that to rest.
So we have to read that.
Yeah, we have to read it. I would think if we get it early enough, we can read it, make our changes and suggestions, give it back to Richard at that meeting. Maybe we can talk about it amongst ourselves at that meeting and find out where we're going. Virtual town hall, I know that there was an email sent around, right, Richard?
Right, and we are having meetings with departments on November 13th. The Board of Selectmen is scheduled for 11 o'clock. We're meeting in the conference room in the assessor's office.
Okay.
And then we have training scheduled after that. This is a meeting just to kind of review the content that's already on the website and what you might want to see move over or developing in terms of new content.
Keyforks?
We'll find out tonight.
Right, but as far as the key forbes go, I know that you missed a meeting and the library trustees came in and there was an issue that,
They were incorrect,
okay,
because we do have them scheduled to
Okay.
get fobs.
all right, perfect. We're still waiting on the lease agreement you're supposed to be working with.
Yeah, I have the lease agreement. I've just made sure that the one we're dealing with is in fact the last iteration, and I'll get, well, the schools has it, but I'm going to just touch base with Mark again to make sure it has everything in there that we need.
Okay. Under old business, I'd like to add the feasibility study and keep it on there so we can get periodic updates and not let that go by the wayside.
Okay. It won't, I assure you. We're spending a lot of
Oh, no.
money on it.
You're not going to assure me. Also, through the chair and also through Lee, if we can, at our next meeting, put on the agenda to go over what our budget timeline's going to be, so we can set that forward for the rest of the departments, and maybe have our own department head meeting with them and lay out exactly what we want from each department, so there's nothing that falls through the cracks, how we want it presented to us. You know, like I know last year we asked for level funding, and then we asked for contractual increases, and then whatever extra, they had to spell it out and give us a detail behind that. And I know that that's very important to the three of us, so.
Yep.
But if we can come up with a calendar and we can start to go over that, so we can be ahead of the curve. And we already know right now, as far as the three of us are concerned, and we haven't really voted on it, we already know a majority of our budget is going to be level funded because of the schools.
Absolutely.
So
Now,
we're good with that.
we're shooting for what, like the beginning of January to start the budget process? Right?
Yeah, I would think right after the holidays. And if we can start scheduling, you know, have our kickoff meeting,
Give them a couple of weeks to start what they're
and
doing.
then put it together, and then, yeah. So usually we wait for the schools, that's usually the one that we're waiting for the last minute, but if we can start plugging in some of the level funding in our budgets, then we should be in a good shape.
Then we'll invite the finance committee so they'll know.
Absolutely. We can have like a
And
big
Janice-
forum,
Janice has to get involved in it.
like a forum, you know, a
Yeah.
forum, so everybody is not, you're not saying one thing to one department head and another. Everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
And maybe the three of us can have a working meeting or some time set aside in our agenda to not have any business, but to discuss how we want to go about it, so the three of us
Yeah,
can
we
have
can do that
input.
before, we can do that in December.
Yeah, we can do
right?
that in December, yeah.
All right. Anything else? No. Anybody else? Anything? We're gonna half hour before we start the big meeting.
I'm sorry.
All right, so anyway, that's the story. Nothing else? Motion to adjourn?
No,
Huh?
no.
What? Oh, we have to leave it open, that's right. We have to leave it open and go into the next
Motion to
one.
take a recess and to reconvene at 7.
You know, you're gonna make a heck of a chair.
Special town meetings are now come to order. I'll now call upon the town clerk to read the return of the published warrant.
Warrant for the special town meeting Monday, November 4th, 2013 at 7 o'clock p.m. Freetown Elementary School Auditorium, 43 Bullock Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts. To either of the constables in the town of Freetown, greeting. In the name of the Commonwealth, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Freetown who are qualified to vote in town affairs to meet in the Freetown Elementary School Auditorium, 43 Bullock Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts, the 4th day of November, 2013 at 7 o'clock p.m., then and there to act on the following articles. And you are hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting attested copies thereof at the following places: the Sonnet Post Office, East Freetown Post Office, the stores of Quick Pick in East Freetown, Junior's Convenience Store, and Freetown Town Hall, and the Freetown Communications Center. Hereof fail not to make return of the original warrant with your doings thereon immediately after making service thereof to the town clerk of the town of Freetown, Massachusetts. Given under our hands and seal of the town of Freetown, this 21st day of October, Anno Domini 2013, signed by the Freetown Board of Selectmen. To the town clerk, town of Freetown, Massachusetts, October 21st, 2013. I have this day posted attested copies of this warrant in the designated places described herein. Signed, Carlton E. Abbott, Junior Constable.
This time I'd like to recognize the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Paul Slavy.
Thank you, Bruce. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple announcements before we start the meeting. This on a lighter note, the town of Freetown annual Christmas tree lighting down at the village bandstand at the Four Corners in the Sonnet. And that is going to be on December 1st. It's a Sunday, and it starts at 5 p.m. All the children are invited. Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus will be there, and there'll be an additional community Christmas tree for which each child may bring a decoration to hang on the tree. Hot coffee and munchkins are also going to be available, and sponsored by the Freetown Cultural Council and the Tuesday Club of the Sonnet. Special thanks going out to the Sonnet Dunkin' Donuts, Clarence and Louise Dearden, but we won't say who they are. John Ashley and the Freetown Highway Department for all their help for that evening, to make that evening possible. Also, earlier this afternoon, I had the opportunity of reading a press release from our police department. And I do want to congratulate Sergeant Eddie Dwyer, Jacob Raposo, and Anthony Pereira, two of our patrolmen, who found 31 pounds of marijuana locally in town, and you'll probably read about that in the newspaper. And also, while we have the opportunity, Jacob Raposo and Anthony Pereira, two of our excellent police officers, have been tapped by the Massachusetts State Police, and they're going to be starting in the State Police Academy on December 2nd. So, real good congratulations to those two gentlemen. They're certainly going to be a big loss to the town of Freetown. All yours, Bruce. Thank you.
A couple announcements too is that this meeting is being recorded and taped. I'd like to announce also, if you want to adjust the floor, please come to the mic in the center and state your name and your address. Also, I'd like to announce that all funding of all articles tonight will be free cash unless it's otherwise specified. I believe there's just the two of them that are transfers, Article 1 and I believe it's, Article 10. Okay, Article 1. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $10,000 from fiscal year 2014 budget line item number 001-2-10-5130-9004-30-00 Police Department Training, FY 2014 budget item, line item number 001-2-210-5580-9003-40-00 Police Department Firearms and Defense Equipment for the purpose of funding anticipated ammunition costs for the Police Department for the remainder of the fiscal year and will take any action relative thereto. Submitted by the Board of Selectmen, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen,
Recommended.
Finance Committee.
Recommended.
Motion to adopt the article is read.
Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 1 is read. On the question, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Article 1 is adopted. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds. Also want to announce Article 1 is voted unanimous. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds a sum of $13,136.36 to pay for the previous fiscal year unpaid bills and/or take any action relative thereto. Submitted by the town administrator, requires a 9/3 vote. On these 9/3 votes, or anything other than a majority or 2/3, if when I announce all in favor and there's no opposition, then I will declare it a unanimous vote and we will not have to count. Otherwise, if there's any opposition, I'll have to count and figure the 9/10 vote. Okay, Article 2, Board of Selectmen.
We recommend.
Finance Committee.
Recommends.
Motion to adopt the article is read.
Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 2 is read. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Adopt Article 2 is voted unanimously. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, and/or transfer from available funds a sum of $15,000 to pay for MIA insurance bills and/or take any action relative thereto. This money is the insurance budget, Article line 945 for liability insurance expenses. Submitted by the town administrator, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen?
We authorize this.
Finance Committee?
We recommend.
Motion to adopt the article is read.
Motion to adopt Article 3 as read. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Article 3 adopted unanimously. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, and/or transfer from available funds a sum of $45,000 to repair and maintain town-owned buildings, grounds, and vehicles, and/or take any action relative thereto. Submitted by the town administrator, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen?
Recommend.
Finance Committee?
Recommends.
Move to adopt the article is read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 4 as read. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Adopt Article 4 unanimously as read. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, and/or transfer from available funds a sum of $27.39 to pay an outstanding W.B. Mason invoice from the prior fiscal year and/or take any action relative thereto. Submitted by the Planning Board, requires a 9/10 vote. Board of Selectmen?
Recommends.
Finance Committee?
Recommends.
Move to adopt the article is read.
Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 5 as read. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Adopt Article 5 unanimously. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to rescind the unused balance in the amount of $6,284,000 of the borrowing approved by the vote taken under Article 1 of the special town meeting of June 7, 2010, which authorized the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow for costs associated with repairing, reconstructing, or constructing roads, bridges, dams, or other infrastructure damaged by the flood in the spring of 2010. The amount of $7 million and/or take any action relative thereto, submitted by the town accountant, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen.
Recommends.
Finance Committee.
Recommends.
Move to adopt as read.
Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 6 as read. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Article 6 is adopted unanimously. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, and/or transfer from available funds a sum of $321.83 to pay a council on aging employee retroactive pay and to take any action relative thereto. Submitted by the town accountant, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen recommends.
Finance Committee.
Recommends.
Move to adopt the article as read.
No. Can I hear a second? Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 7 as read. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Adopt Article 7 unanimously as read. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, and/or transfer from available funds a sum of $135.69 to pay a W.B. Mason prior year's bill and/or take any action relative thereto, submitted by the town accountant, requires a 9/10 vote. Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen recommends.
Finance Committee.
Recommends.
Move to adopt the article as read.
Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 8 as read. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Article 8 adopted unanimously. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds a sum of $23,838.96 to supplement the highway department due to costs incurred associated with paving the town hall parking lot and/or take any action relative thereto. These funds will be broken down and come from the highway department account 420, personnel $640, expenditures $23,198.96. Submitted by the highway surveyor, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen.
Board recommends.
Finance Committee.
Recommends.
Move to adopt the article as read.
Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 9 as read. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Adopt Article 9 unanimously. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $2,000 from the sale of cemetery lots account to be used by the Cemetery Commission to make available more cemetery lots in the Minnesota burying ground. This will include surveying of existing prepared land, marking out of lots, clearing new areas of land already owned, performing maintenance and improving roads and access, and to take any action relative thereto. Submitted by the Cemetery Commission, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen recommends.
Finance Committee.
Recommends.
Move to adopt the article as read.
Motion made and seconded to adopt Article 10 as read. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Article 10 adopted unanimously. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, and/or transfer from available funds a sum of $65,000 to fund the paving and asphalting of Lang Road. This was submitted by petition, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen?
Board of Selectmen has no recommendation. This was submitted by petition.
Finance Committee?
No recommendation.
Motion to table. Motion to vote.
They have a motion on the floor to table. Motion is seconded to table. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
All opposed?
Yes. Yes. Opposed. Yes. Opposed.
To be fair, I'm going to ask for a count. Okay, you have your ballots. You're voting to table the motion. To table the motion. All in favor to table Article 11. Please raise your sheets. Okay, those not in favor of tabling, please raise your... Okay, let it count that. You need to hold up your paper if you have a, you should have a paper when you're registered. So those noes, please raise your paper.
I don't know. You're asking me, I don't know. Inaccurate count, I don't know. Keep doing it, yeah, keep doing it until you raise it.
Motion to table is defeated. So we'll need an article, Article 11. The motion, all in favor was 22. The motion, the count for all in favor was 22, and the count for opposed was 23. So we still have Article 11 on the floor.
Motion to vote. Second.
Discussion on it.
Well, we will. Motion made and seconded to approve Article 11.
As read.
On the question.
Mr. Moderator, just Mike McHugh from Summit. Just to be clear, the Finance Committee did not have a recommendation on this. Is that correct?
No recommendation.
I do believe under the town's bylaws, and town council may be able to clarify this, I don't believe town meeting can vote on a financial matter without a recommendation, unless no recommendation counts as a form of recommendation.
Town council said that we can vote on this. Still on the question.
Joseph Montour, 46 Chase Road. I'm not an engineer, but it's been long controversial, in other words, that this road did not meet standards, in other words, for paving or anything under Chapter 90 funds, I believe. Some time ago, Mr. Macomber was at a town at the Selectmen's meeting and discussed this, and he did say that it did not meet any standards, in other words, to have Chapter 90 funds fund this. And if we appropriate $65,000, it was to pave a road which has been controversial for years, to the standards of it, in other words, the width of it, the foundation of it, and for X amount of people that live there, which there's other roads in town that need much more work than a road that has a half a dozen homes on it. Grant you, in other words, one of the homes is very, very high, and we have houses in other developments which are valued much higher, with many more houses. The article should be defeated, in other words, not funded. Thank you.
Right down on the question.
Steve Lavelle, Lang Road. The road, we spend more money maintaining this road as people don't understand. Every time it rains, we have washouts, we have damage to vehicles. All it's going to take is one person to trip, break their ankle in a pothole, a kid to smash up his face on his bicycle, and the town's liable for the condition and the safety of this road. it needs to be paved. It was supposed to be paved as part of a subdivision that it connects to, and that was not enforced by the town. So I just feel that it needs to be paved, that the homes on this road with just over 2 years' taxes that we pay on just the homes on that road alone will more than cover the expense of paving this road.
Any others on the question?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Kevin Demaris, Freetown Planning Board. John Ashley, for those folks who know, former selectman here in town, asked me, he was unable to be here tonight, he asked me that to express his concerns over this article, and he would ask that it would be defeated.
Well, he should have been.
I will get, I'm just, I don't know.
You can't speak for somebody else.
Yeah, let him speak, okay, please, thank you.
Thank you for your
He's not
indulgence,
speaking,
Mr.
Mr. Moderator.
Moderator.
The gentleman wasn't been here, he's going to speak on this article.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. To give a brief, accurate history on the road, to Wayne existence prior to subdivision control. It was a dirt road prior, part of the Kings Highway. 1764, I believe it was built. The town did not take care of it, maintain it. It may have done in the past as a favor to some of the folks that lived down the end there. It was never accepted as a town road, nor was it ever part of a subdivision road, nor paving plan on any subdivision. So that information is incorrect. I just want everybody to know that it wasn't because the town dropped the ball. We would have asked that it would be paved, but if it were to be paved, to be done right. There are myriad wetlands on that property. I'm also the chairman of the Conservation Commission, so I have legitimate concerns about the wetlands that are in and around that roadway. I don't disagree that these people need some sort of relief. Maybe there's an increased maintenance protocol, maybe from the highway department, I don't know. But not knowing what the subbase is in that road, just to throw asphalt on there, I can tell you that in a couple of years' time, it'll be frozen from underneath, it'll crack, there is no drainage. It's very narrow as it is, difficult for two vehicles to get up and down. So folks need to know that if we're just going to be putting that lipstick on a pig and just putting a couple inches of asphalt, that we may very well be back here in a couple of years' time getting more money to repair it. So I just wanted to clear up the history of that and just give you my concerns as a planning board member and also conservation. Thank you.
Is there anyone who wants to speak on the question?
Robert LaBelle, Allen Street. This road was an approved road by the town, and it should be taken care of. It should be blacktopped. It's unsafe where people go down that street. I have a Corvette that I couldn't even go down that street with to visit my son, and his family lives there. I just think this is an accepted road, and it should be blacktopped.
Is there anything else on the question?
I just wanted to add that when the town was taken to court over this road a few years back, the judge made it clear in his order this road is to be maintained and maintained for safety of the people who live on that road and anybody else who chooses to use it. And that has not been done. It needs the pavement in order to accomplish this.
Is there anything else?
Yes. If we pave this in accordance to the planning board notes, and knowing the conditions of the road up there myself, because I've traveled up there, and I can't see where it benefits, in other words, the residents of that road. They knew what the road was like when they purchased these houses. The road was there, and we should not approve this $65,000 for something that is not going to exist for a long time. We have other roads that need priorities. Chipaway Road is one. Thank you.
Keith Boswin, One Lane Road. Just because he said that we knew what the road was when we moved in. We could see what the road was when we moved in, but we were, maybe they shouldn't have promised, but the people that were selling the land, doing the development, they did promise that they would pave that road and tie it into the development. So just for record, yeah, it was dirt when I moved in, but it was promised to be paved.
Maybe we should go back to the...
Is there anything else on the question?
I'm Farah Kindling, I'm a new resident that just built, and when I bought the lot, it did tell me that it was going to be paved. I just go for walks, it'd be nice to see it paved in beautiful neighborhood.
Okay, is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this motion?
I'm going to ask the Chuck, could you, for the 65,000, you knew you weren't going to get away with it.
No, sir. You're not going to get a Christmas
Tell us
card
what,
from me
in other
this
words,
year.
just explain to everybody that what we're going to have with the 65,000, will it be adequate to handle the 5 houses on that road?
Well, with $65,000 will pay for a driveway approximately 1,100 feet long by 16 feet wide, so 2 vehicles won't be able to pass. I'm really not in favor of it. By adopting this, we're basically going to throw every bylaw that the town has adopted over the last 50 years out the window. New subdivision bylaws, you have to have a 40-foot right-of-way, you have to put 5.5 inches asphalt, you have to have drainage, you have to have sidewalks, trees, all that associated with it. This is basically an 1,100-foot driveway, 16 feet wide, 3 inches of asphalt. Kevin touched on it. I can't promise the longevity because the base is unknown. You know, any new subdivision that's going to be built, you're going to put in 6 to 12 inches of processed gravel as a base before you pave on top of it. And you people of the voting body of the town, if you think that you want to spend $65,000 for a driveway, we'll do it next spring. It's entirely up to you.
I know that we talked about this with Chuck, just to find out what it would cost to put in a roadway that met the current requirements. It was significantly huge. It was over $1 million to do it the proper way because it involved taking of land and so forth to make the road wider. So the people that are here that want this done, you got to understand that this is what you're going to get for $65,000 because we can't possibly do it and take the proper land, make the road wide enough and put in drainage for that kind of money. But certainly, if that's what we're looking for here to do, that's the voters' prerogative. Thank you, Chuck.
Chuck? Chuck, we're speaking about this like it's a dirt road. It isn't actually a dirt road, is it?
It is a dirt road. What surface is on there now is recycled asphalt because we get recycled asphalt for free. So that's why, that's what's there. There's probably 4 to 6 inches of recycled asphalt that's currently there. What's underneath that is unknown. Before 7 years ago, we never went up that driveway. It was Archie Pitsley's driveway. We never had anything to do with it. We didn't plow it, we didn't do anything. When Peacock Estates and Kendall Road and all that went in, it was told by us that we had to plow it and maintain it. So we went in there and we opened it up a little bit, we cut some brush, we put in some of that recycled asphalt to make the road passable. Nice thing about recycled asphalt, you don't have mud, you don't have those issues. But the stability of it is unknown. There's no new road in the world that, no one would ever pave over this road.
Have you maintained it as far as grading and filling potholes and things?
We do, we go out there as much as we can. There's only 4 of us and we can't live there because we got an entire town to take care of.
My last question, how many miles of dirt road are there that the town is responsible for in Freetown?
The only dirt roads that we take care of, are Lang Road and Kobe Cut Road. That's it.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? I can't get up right now, so I'm just going to stay here if that's okay.
Please, can you stand up, please?
Go ahead, no, I can hear you.
How many hours a month do you spend working on it?
Question. What was the question, please?
How many hours a month does he spend
Please
working on
state
it?
your name and your
My
address.
name's Tom, I live in Kendall Lane. How many hours do you spend
Excuse
a
me,
month
are you a
working on it?
registered voter in the town?
We just moved in a month ago. I apologize that we didn't register to vote, but we do live on Kendall Lane, which is right around the corner. And we do drive on that road daily.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
No.
I can ask a question for him.
I'll answer the question. We probably go on Lang Road maybe 5-6 times a year. Materials, zero. We use recycled asphalt, doesn't cost the town a dime. Most of the time, we have 2 guys filling the potholes out of the back of the dump truck. Probably spend less than an hour, probably spend less than 6 hours a year on Lang Road.
6 hours a year?
A year.
Can I ask a question to Mr. McCullough?
Hello.
Chuck, before I purchased my house on Lane Road, I came to see you, and I asked you what was going to happen with Lane Road. You said to me, as a town employee, that I would like to see this road get paved. We spend more money and time over there maintaining this road than it will cost us in the long run to pave it. You also told me that every time it rains, you have to come there and fix potholes because you get complaints about it, which is true. So you spend far more than 6 hours a day, a year, working on the road. Secondly, did I not call you to complain about your employees swearing at me, trying to get in my own driveway? Well, no. This is a question.
I know you're not asking the question. What you're doing is you're addressing Mr. Highway Department.
I'll address the selectmen as well then. Did any of the selectmen get a phone call from me complaining about town employees giving me a hassle about getting in my own driveway because they were working on the road and they had to move their dump truck?
Did we get a call from you?
From me
Yes.
personally.
Yes, I did.
You did? Mr. Pacheco? Mr. Baumgart?
I don't remember getting a call from you, so you might have done it before you first.
So, it's just been nothing but a hassle.
Okay, thank you.
All I'd like to say is, Mr. LaBelle has done what was requested of him. He brought this before the town. By petition, he's done his work. Mr. LaBelle did come to us before he even bought his house and asked us when we were going to pave the road. And I think I told him, quote, when hell freezes over for the 3rd time, that road will be paved. To do the road properly, you will have to take land. Unfortunately, the land that we take, a good part of it is wet. All wetlands that are destroyed have to be replicated on a different area. You're looking at...
Mr. Moderator, it's not answering a question.
You're looking at...
As a town
He's
employee.
describing what needs to be done so the voters can vote intelligently.
You're looking at well over $1 million.
We're not asking for...
Please.
You can't pave this road for $65,000. You're going to pave this road 16 feet wide by whatever the length is, 1,100 feet. If that's what the townspeople want to do, then so be it. In the spring, that'll be one of the first projects that we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this?
Excuse me, Mr. Moderator, through you to Town Council, is it possible to fund this article through a betterment, or can it only be done through free cash and taxation?
Hello, through you, Mr. Moderator. As written, I don't believe it could be a betterment at this point. But to answer your question, in a different form, at a different meeting, yes, this could be a public works project that could be funded through a betterment.
So if it warrants a petition, it could be funded through a betterment. But because there's a petition, it's not supposed to be amended significantly.
Well, that would be, to answer your question, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bob Parker, Dr. Braley Road. If the road is paved, does the town continue to maintain that? I mean, if the pavement doesn't hold up and cracks and stuff, does the town, you still have to go in and repair the road?
Yes.
Highway Department says yes.
That'd be an additional cost.
Okay, is there anyone new who would like to speak on this article?
Paul Guido, East Freetown. I apologize if I might have missed this, but I'm just trying to understand, is this a recognized town road or is this a private road? I apologize, I'm so confused.
It is a recognized town road.
Not accepted. Not accepted.
It is accepted town road.
Could I have the planning board chairman please address that?
The chair, Mr. Moderator, the chairman's not here, I'm the vice chairman.
You drive one every day, right?
It was, a court case was brought, I believe against the town. A local historical surveyor was utilized, and they were able to show that in fact it was a way in existence prior to subdivision control, which would then subsequently, Jackie, you might confirm this for me, that we would accepted that at a town meeting. You remember what year?
I don't remember.
1764?
I know it was.
No, recently the court case.
Oh,
okay.
1979.
Yeah.
No, it was through a court case, so I don't know if it ever came to a town meeting vote for acceptance, but it was recognized. Well, I'm not going to read it all, but I'm sorry, Chuck. I should have studied. But the bottom line is, it was through a court case that it was decided. Prior to that, the planning board had taken the opinion that it wasn't of sufficient width or grade to actually get lots on that road, which is the reason why we had, right next door, there's a Cave Way or Macomb Way. And those folks were asked by the planning board to do a single lot subdivision, because in fact the road is not of sufficient width or grade. During the discussions on the Form A plans, which would have created the lots on Lane Road, town council or a representative from council came down and reiterated to us that in fact through that court case, we were obligated under the Form A rules and regulations to sign off on the plan. It made it eligible for a signature on the plan, so they could in fact get a buildable lot there. So that's the brief history that I know. Whether it's a town accepted, I don't know if it ever went to town meeting or not. But that, I don't believe it had. But that's how we came to recognize it as a town road.
Are there anyone else who has not spoken yet like to speak on this article?
I live on Lane Road, 7 Lane Road. Being that it's a town road, we have trash pickup now. I just believe that we need it to be paid. I've lived here for 4 years. They promised me that the road was going to be paved when I purchased the home, just like Steve said, and Jen, and everyone that lives on that road, and we need that road to be paved.
Okay. I'm going to allow you to speak one more time and that's it, okay?
Yeah, this is for the question for the selectmen and the town administrator. We had a meeting with the residents from Lane Road and the board, and we asked if we could find the records from the planning board meeting when the subdivision that connects to Lane Road, off of Kendall to Lane Road, was done. And according to the town administrator, we couldn't find anything in the records for the meeting. Is that correct?
I believe the request was to review the records to determine, as a result of the other subdivision, there's a requirement that the road be paved or brought up to standards. And when we reviewed the record, we could not find any indication of that. There was no mention of it, there was no language, there was nothing.
Mr. Moderator, the planning board representative, Kevin, when that other subdivision went in, the one on Kendall Road, was there any link to Lang Road? Do you remember of any link to Lang Road that they should have paved that road? Do you know of any?
No, sir. No, sir.
There was no link?
No, sir. No. It was brought up for discussion, and at the the time, I think the contractor actually had said he'd like to pave it. But, understanding the myriad hurdles that we have, wetlands, road layout, base, land takings and such, it was determined that we were not going to sign off on him doing that. It would have been outside the scope. They would have had to go into the road commissioners. It certainly wasn't part of the subdivision plan, so it wouldn't have been through the planning board approval anyway. They would have had to go into the road commissioners, got permission to pave it, and through them.
So we're talking about the Kennedy Road development. What about the people, whoever built the houses on Lang Road? Was there anything that you guys had to approve?
Just the Form A lots, just the creation of single house lots. And again, we were not willing to sign off initially because of the fact that we believe that the road is not of sufficient width or grade to support its intended use. And I think these people are speaking to that.
Why were the house lots built?
Because subsequent to that, we were shown through the court decision that it is a way in existence prior to subdivision control. And what's important is the threshold or the standard for a signature from the planning board for Form A approval is very limited, and it's a low threshold. Determining buildability is another threshold, and then determining whether it should be accepted by the town is a significant threshold, quite honestly. To Chuck's point, 40-foot layouts, drainage, and as such. So, no, I can honestly say, as a member that was on that planning board at the time, that there was no requirement through the planning board process that he actually paved that way.
Okay, is there anyone else who has not spoken on that article? Okay, hearing none, we will take a vote. Article 11 has been, a motion was made to accept it and seconded. After hearing all those who had wanted to speak, all those in favor, please raise your voting sheet. In favor of Article 11.
Folks, and please make sure that the paper you hold up actually is the vote paper. Thank you.
All those who are not in favor of Article 11. The vote is as follows. All those in favor was 20. All those opposed was 30. Motion, Article 11 is defeated. Not approved. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise an appropriate and/or transfer from available funds the sum of $11,000 to fund key fob insulation to security at the Town Hall and the Council of Aging buildings, and to take any action relative thereto. Submitted by the Town Administrator, requires a majority vote. Board of Selectmen?
Recommend.
Finance Committee?
Recommend.
Motion made and seconded to accept the Article 12 as read. On the question, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Article 12 is approved unanimously.
The point of order, Mr. Moderator, I've risen to speak before you called for the vote.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, is that why you...
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't recognize you. Was it turned into a vote?
Then I move to reconsider Article 12.
Did you vote?
I voted no. Quietly, but no.
He referred to town council. Hold on. The motion was made and voted on. Apologize for not recognizing you prior to that. But if you wanted to bring this back, anyone who voted on the prevailing side should make a motion to reconsider. And we will reconsider Article 12, vote on that, and then bring it back up again.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, at this time, we got a motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
So voted.